Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. As a grief and trauma relief specialist, I bring a wealth of expertise to my life coaching by combining personal experience with professional knowledge. I want to start by asking a question. Have you ever felt like you're constantly on edge, like your mind just won't stop racing, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to relax? If you're nodding your head right now, I see you. I've been there. Chronic stress and anxiety are exhausting, especially for those of us who've been through trauma. Now, today, I want to talk about that stress and anxiety that feels like a constant companion, always lurking, always keeping you in a state of hypervigilance. Let's dive into why this happens and what we can start doing about it. Now, first, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the deeper reason behind this anxiety you're feeling. When you've gone through trauma, our nervous system is essentially reprogrammed to stay on high alert. Trauma sends our body into survival mode, and even after the traumatic event is over, our brain and body still acts as if danger is right around the corner. This is because trauma keeps us stuck in a cycle of fight, flight, or freeze, leaving us in a constant state of hypervigilance. You might be wondering, why does this happen? Well, our brain has a part called the amygdala, which is responsible for detecting danger and triggering that fight or flight response. When trauma occurs, the amygdala becomes overactive, sensing danger even when none exists. And this means that even small things like a sudden noise, a certain smell, or an unexpected movement can trigger your nervous system to react as if there's an immediate threat. It's as if your brain is wired to always anticipate the worst case scenario, even if you're in a place that's objectively safe. You could be sitting in your living room, surrounded by loved ones, but that feeling of unease, of danger, still creeps in. This constant state of readiness to defend yourself is not only exhausting, but it makes it impossible for you to relax, trust, or feel at peace. When your nervous system is stuck in this hypervigilant mode, your body is also affected. And you might notice that your muscles are tense, your shoulders stay tight, your jaw is clenched, and your breathing becomes shallow. And all of this tension is your body's way of preparing to fight or flee, even when there's no immediate danger. And over time, this leads to physical issues like headaches and chronic pain, stomach problems, and even weakened immunity because your body is burning energy on high alert all the time. Emotionally, you're in a state of constant dread. Every decision feels like a life or death situation, even when it's something small, like deciding what to have for dinner. And because you're so focused on potential threats, it becomes harder to be present in your relationships or daily activities. And you might find yourself avoiding social situations because it's just too overwhelming to keep scanning the room for danger. Now, I remember when I was stuck in this state, hypervigilance was my normal. Every unexpected sound felt like a threat. My heart would race and I would immediately start scanning the environment, even if I was just sitting at home. I couldn't relax no matter how hard I tried. And honestly, it was exhausting. It took a lot of work to unlearn those survival instincts and to start trusting that I was safe. Even if this resonates with you, I want you to know that you're not alone. I've been there and I know how overwhelming it can feel. And let me know in the comments if this resonates with your experience. What situations tend to trigger this hypervigilance for you? Now, it could be sudden noises, unexpected movements, or even social situations. Just feel free to share your thoughts and let's open up this conversation together. See, by understanding why your brain and body respond this way, you're already taking the first step toward healing. The next step is learning how to calm your nervous system and retrain your brain to recognize safety. And we'll explore how to do that together through grounding techniques and strategies for managing anxiety. Now, let's go a little deeper into how stress and anxiety physically manifests in your body. Often we think of anxiety as something that happens in our minds, but the truth is, it affects us physically just as much. Anxiety is our body's alarm system, always on alert, preparing you for danger, even when no real threat exists. And your body's way of protecting itself from perceived danger can lead to chronic tension and discomfort. For many of you, that tension sits in your shoulders, your neck, and jaw, and you might notice that your shoulders are constantly hunched up or that you're clenching your jaw without even realizing it. Now, these small acts of tension become a part of your daily routine, so much so that you might not even be aware of them anymore. Over time, this tension builds and manifests in physical discomfort like headaches or stiffness, and which can linger throughout the day. When you're in constant state of anxiety, your body enters what I call a state of readiness. And your muscles stay tight, ready to spring into action at any moment, even when there's no reason to do so. This constant this constant muscle tension can lead to chronic pain in areas like your neck, back, and shoulders. And you might wake up in the morning already feeling sore because your muscles never had the chance to fully relax while you slept. And your body is in overdrive, trying to protect you from threats that aren't there. And this prolonged state of tension is incredibly exhausting. Not only does it drain your physical energy, but it also wears down your emotional and mental reserves. Anxiety and physical tension are so intertwined that you may not even realize one is triggering the other. And for some of you, this stress and anxiety can show up as headaches, especially tension headaches. And when your muscles are constantly tight, the tension in your neck and shoulders can trigger these headaches, making it hard to focus or get through the day. You might also experience digestive issues. Anxiety often disrupts the digestive system, leading to stomach aches, nausea, or other gut-related problems. The mind-gut connection is powerful, and when your mind is in distress, your body responds accordingly. Now, I've had clients tell me they constantly feel this buzzing energy, like they can never really fully relax. It's always in the background, making it hard for them to enjoy even the smallest moments of peace. This buzz often makes falling asleep or staying asleep a struggle, and you might toss and turn all night running through worst case scenarios in your mind. And when you're not getting proper rest, the next day is even harder to handle, and your anxiety gets worse because your body is running on empty. It's a vicious cycle. Lack of sleep leads to more anxiety, and more anxiety leads to poor sleep. This lack of sleep is one of the most common effects of anxiety. And when you're not well rested, it's harder for your body to cope with stress, which in turn makes the anxiety worse. And insomnia often accompanies chronic anxiety, with many of you finding it hard to turn your mind off at night. Even if you manage to fall asleep, you might wake up frequently or experience nightmares related to your trauma. And the cycle continues. The less sleep you get, the more anxious you feel during the day. Imagine trying to carry on with your daily responsibilities while running on empty. It's no wonder that tasks that used to seem simple while making decisions or interacting with others now feel overwhelming. When you're constantly tired and stressed, even the small things can trigger feelings of anxiety or irritability. Now, how many of you have noticed physical symptoms like headaches, tight shoulders, or stomach problems that seem to be linked to your stress and anxiety? Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. Now, I've been there myself, and I remember a time when my jaw would ache and my neck and shoulders felt like they were carrying the weight of the world. I didn't realize how much stress was affecting my body until I started paying attention. And once I learned how to recognize these physical signs, I realized that my body had been trying to send me signals for a long time. Signals that I was pushing too hard, holding too much tension. And the connection between anxiety and the body is strong. And while it's easy to overlook the physical symptoms, recognizing them is the first step toward healing. In our next session, I'll share about simple but powerful strategies for releasing that tension and calming your nervous system so your body can finally start to relax. Now, remember, the goal isn't to eliminate anxiety altogether, but to learn how to manage it, both mentally and physically. So, now let's talk about how we start breaking the cycle of stress and anxiety. And when you've been in a constant state of hypervigilance where your mind is always racing, worrying about the future, or imagining worst case scenarios, the key to interrupting that cycle is grounding. See, grounding is a practice that helps you reconnect with your body and bring your attention back in the present moment when you're safe. One of the biggest challenges with anxiety is that it pulls you out of the present and into what ifs of the future. What if something goes wrong? What if I can't handle it? What if the worst happens? When you're constantly focusing on the future, your body stays stuck in that fight or flight mode, never allowing you to feel calm or grounded. Now, the good news is grounding techniques can help bring you back into the now, back to this moment where nothing is happening and you're safe. And when we talk about grounding, we're really talking about rebuilding a sense of safety in your body and in the moment. Trauma often leaves us feeling disconnected from ourselves, and grounding helps us rebuild that connection. And when you feel that buzzing energy or your thoughts are spiraling, grounding techniques help you shift your focus away from those racing thoughts and instead bring attention to your physical sensations. And by doing this, you can calm the nervous system and remind yourself that you're not in danger right now. So let's start with one of the simplest but most powerful grounding techniques, deep breathing. See, deep breathing works because it directly affects the nervous system. And when you're anxious, your breath becomes shallow and fast. This is your body's way of preparing to run or fight. But when you take slow, deep breaths, you send a signal to your brain that it's okay to relax, that you are not in immediate danger. So let's try this together right now. I'd like for you to go ahead and sit comfortably with your feet on the ground if possible, and take a deep breath in through your nose. And then hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Beautiful. Now let's do that again. In through your nose, hold, and out through your mouth. Now, as you breathe, notice how your body feels. Maybe you can feel your shoulders drop a little or your chest relax. Now, how do you feel after just a few breaths? Do you notice even a small shift in your body? A little more relaxation or presence? Feel free to share with me in the comments if you feel any difference. And you might be wondering why something as simple as breathing can make such a big difference. And it's because deep breathing directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and digest response. And when you breathe deeply and slowly, you are essentially telling your body it's safe to relax now. So over time, when you practice deep breathing, the easier it becomes for your body to return to the state of calm. So think of it like training a muscle. And every time you practice deep breathing, you're strengthening your ability to calm your nervous system. So eventually, your body learns that it's okay to let go of the tension. Deep breathing is just one grounding technique, but there are other ways to bring yourself back into the present moment and out of that anxious state. So another simple method is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, which uses your senses to ground you. So here's how it works. See, five, you want to look around and name five things you can see. And four, you want to touch four things around you. It could be the chair you're sitting on, the texture of your clothing, or the surface of a table. And three, identify three sounds you can hear. Now, it might be the sound of my voice, the hum of your air conditioner, or the birds outside. And two is identify two things you can smell. This could be the scent of your environment or your own clothing. Then one, focus on one thing you can taste, even if it's just the taste of your own breath or a sip of water. By going through this exercise, you're pulling yourself out of the future, out of the what ifs, and anchoring yourself in the present moment. You're reminding your body and mind that right now, in this moment, everything is okay. Now, I remember when I first started practicing grounding techniques, I didn't think they would work for me. And my anxiety felt so intense, I wasn't sure anything could calm it down. But over time, with practice, I realized that these small steps, like deep breathing or using a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, made a real difference. And they gave me a sense of control when everything felt chaotic, and slowly I started to feel safer in my own body. Now remember, grounding is a practice, and like any practice, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And you don't have to live in a constant state of tension or anxiety. By grounding yourself, you can start to rebuild that sense of safety in your own body and bring yourself back to the present moment. If you're feeling constantly on edge, if the world feels unsafe, and you can't seem to relax, I want you to know there is hope. You don't have to stay in that state forever. And by practicing grounding techniques, learning how to calm your nervous system, and rebuild and building safety within your own body, you can start to regain control of your life. Now, I want to leave you this. Healing is a choice, and it's one that you can make today. No matter how long you've been carrying the weight of your trauma, it's never too late to begin. Every small step you take is progress, and every step forward brings you closer to the life you truly deserve. You are powerful beyond measure, and this journey of healing is your opportunity to tap into that power. I'm here to help you unlock that strength, to guide you through the difficult moments, and to celebrate the victories along the way. And if you're ready to stop suffering and start living fully, I'm ready to walk that path with you. Now, I'd like to share a little bit about my 6 week Stop Suffering Now system. It's designed to alleviate the immediate pain that's been keeping you stuck. And this system focuses on helping you regain control over your emotions and thoughts and is built specifically to break the cycle of trauma induced suffering. And why a system? Because trauma creates a complex web of emotional, mental, and physical pain, and overcoming it requires a structured approach. And my system ensures you move through each phase of healing with clarity, purpose, and the right tools, building up step upon each other for lasting change. And we work through the four pillars of insight, impact, intuition, and implementation. And each pillar is essential part of the system designed to provide the foundation for deep, lasting change. Healing begins with insight. And in this pillar, we work to uncover the underlying causes of your trauma, the patterns, beliefs, and experiences that have been holding you back. And one of my clients, Sarah, came to me after years of trying to manage her anxiety through workaholism. She thought she just needed better work-life balance. But through our work in the insight phase, she realized that her drive to overwork was rooted in a fear of abandonment from childhood. Once she saw this connection, the healing process began to shift for her. And this step illuminated the underlying forces driving her behavior, allowing her to start making conscious changes. And why is this important? Because it's the first essential step in the system. And without understanding where the pain is coming from, real transformation can't happen. Insight builds the awareness you need to navigate your healing journey. Next, we explore the impact trauma has had on your life. It's not enough to know the root cause. We must also understand how it has shaped your behavior, relationships, and health. And for another client, Tom, discovering how the unresolved grief of losing a parent as a child was affecting his marriage was eye-opening, and he realized that his fear of loss had led him to emotionally distance himself from his partner, pushing her away as a form of self-protection. Understanding the impact of trauma allowed him to stop this destructive pattern and begin rebuilding his relationship. In this phase, we build on the awareness gained in insight to understand the effect trauma has had on your life and relationships. Healing starts within. When you rebuild peace and love for yourself, that healing radiates into your relationships and your entire world. Trauma disconnects us from our inner voice, from our intuition. In this phase, we work to rebuild that connection. And one of my clients, Melissa, came to me feeling lost and unsure of how to make decisions in her life. She had always relied on others to tell her what was best, afraid to trust herself. And as we worked through this pillar, she began to reconnect with her instincts and learn to trust her inner wisdom again. By the end of the program, she had started making decisions with confidence, realizing that her intuition had been there all along. It had just been drowned out by fear. And the final pillar of the first phase is implementation. It's where we put the insights and shifts you've gained into action. And a client named James struggled with anger management, often feeling overwhelmed and reactive. And then through our work in this phase, he learned practical tools to regulate his emotions and respond to situations calmly. And it wasn't enough to know why he felt angry. He needed actionable strategies to implement in his daily life. Now he reports feeling more in control and has improved his relationships both at work and at home. Implementation ensured that the healing he experienced became a permanent part of his life. Stopping the suffering is critical because it allows you to create space for deeper healing. As long as you're in pain, it's difficult to move forward. Stop Suffering Now is a system because it takes you step by step through each stage of healing in a clear, structured way. Each pillar builds on the one before it, allowing you to stop the immediate pain and create space for deeper healing. This system ensures you don't just address one aspect of the trauma, but instead rebuild a solid foundation for long-lasting transformation. It's designed to break the cycle of suffering so you can stop feeling stuck and start healing with clarity and purpose. And if you're ready to stop suffering, make peace with your past, and finally start living the life you've been longing for, I want to personally invite you to take the first step toward your healing journey. Facing trauma and emotional pain can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. This process is about more than just getting by. It's about moving beyond survival and into a life filled with peace, purpose, and freedom. Taking that first step means saying yes to yourself and your healing. It's about giving yourself permission to let go of the pain you've been carrying for too long. And through my Stop Suffering Now framework, I've seen countless clients transform their lives. And they've gone from feeling stuck and weighed down by their trauma to living with clarity, confidence, and a renewed sense of purpose. And you can experience this too. The first step is easy. Schedule a complimentary session with me. In this session, we'll talk about where you are now, where you want to be, and the obstacles that have been holding you back. And this isn't just a casual conversation, It's a focused exploration of how you can begin to break free from the patterns and pain that have kept you stuck. We'll discuss the unique challenges you're facing, and I'll walk you through how my framework can be tailored to meet your specific needs. During our complimentary session, you'll have the space to share your story in a way that feels safe and supportive, and we'll explore the key areas in your life where you feel the most stuck and overwhelmed. Whether it's anxiety, grief, self sabotage, or difficulty in relationships, we'll dive into the root causes of these challenges rather than just addressing the symptoms. You'll also get a personalized introduction to my Stop Suffering Now framework, and I'll show you how we can move through the four pillars of healing: insight, impact, intuition, and implementation to stop your suffering and begin the process of making peace with your past. And this framework is designed to help you regain control over your emotional landscape, rebuild your sense of self, and start creating the life you want. And we'll also take time to discuss what the next 6 weeks could look like for you. This is where we really start to envision the changes you'll see. Imagine looking back in just 42 days, knowing that this complimentary session was the turning point. You'll begin to feel lighter, more in control of your emotions, and more confident in the choices you're making. The relationships that once felt strained can become sources of connection and joy. And the career goals you put off can start to feel within reach. Curious about my programs and services? I'd love to connect with you. You're welcome to join me for an I Have Questions call where we can explore what options might be best for you. And you can easily schedule a call by clicking the link in the comments below after this live session or by clicking the Bridge to Healing cover photo for the scheduling link. I look forward to chatting with you. And as we close today, remember that healing is a journey, and each step you take brings you closer to the peace and freedom you deserve. You've already begun that journey by being here, and I'm honored to walk alongside you as you continue moving forward. See you real soon. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.